So we're going to talk about bone health and diet, which is a huge subject, isn't it? I mean, bone health is terribly important. After the menopause, we have an increased risk of osteoporosis. And of course, HRT, one of the main reasons of long-term health benefits of HRT is that it helps prevent osteoporosis and actually prevents osteopenia, the stage before osteoporosis. Progressing to osteoporosis. So that's a good thing we can do for our bone health.
Absolutely.
But of course, then there's another huge area with diet and getting our calcium intake. And I, for one, don't know much about nutrition really and calcium intake. I'm always confused how much calcium in this and that, and then if I drink too much milk, will that be bad for my cholesterol? So Emma, perhaps you could enlighten us a little bit about diet.
I mean, this is the thing, everyone's quite anxious about dairy as well, and they don't need to be. Let's just start right there, because dairy foods are absolutely brilliant source of calcium. But some people can't tolerate dairy, or they can't tolerate a lot of it, or they can't tolerate unfermented dairy. So you've got to kind of just think what is good for your body. But that is the best source of calcium in foods. Let me come back to dairy in a minute. Then you've got things like, these are the sources of calcium, just in your general diet. Dairy being the best. Then you've got things like bones and fish. So tinned fish is fantastic, actually. You've got
tinned sardines
and tinned herrings and tinned mackerel and tinned salmon that has bones. And as long as it's got the bones in, which of course the way it's cooked in those tins or cans is soft. And that is actually a very easily absorbable calcium form. So that's brilliant. Whitebait, fried up whitebait or something. It's a great food. So you've got that, you've got the calcium in dairy and the calcium in fish bones, brilliant. But actually what people don't understand, I think, is calcium's actually not in such high quantities, but it's in a lot of other foods. So it's in nuts and seeds, it's in legumes and pulses, and it's actually in vegetables. It's in cabbage, and it's in green leafy vegetables. And you see how that way you can bring it right into your diet and bring it in. So it's not just about counting down, how much dairy I have to eat in the day.
So it's a very broad range diet.
It is a broad range, and yes, it's in dried spices, for instance.
Because I think you have to have about they recommend 70 milligrams. I think if you're under 50. If you're under 50, if you're over 50, is it 1200 milligrams? I think a day. So I'm just wondering how's a busy woman with children, how are we going to get that into our general day?
That is it, isn't it? Absolutely. Well, as I mentioned, dairy is the best source. And I think for our gut health, fermented dairy is better than just having gallons of milk, because that's sometimes quite hard to digest. But
so fermented dairy, what do you mean?
So exactly. So fermented dairy is literally yogurt or kefir. Or cheese is fermented. So, actually we're talking about just not milk. We're talking about all those sort of other sources. And the denser, in a sense, the dairy food, like when you get to hard cheese, like Parmesan and things like that, and Manchego, and I think those sort of, that's actually really high in calcium, and hard cheddars and things like that. So actually the firmer, in a sense, the dairy, the higher the calcium in it. So I think it's quite good. If you're not dairy intolerant, you can have natural yogurt at breakfast, say, or natural yogurt as a snack in a day, like a cup's worth. Tick, tick, tick. You might have...
you add something to that to increase the calcium?
Yes, so that's the thing. So if you, say, have an oaty type breakfast, so Katie, you had porridge this morning, absolutely brilliant. Well, there's calcium in porridge. Then you might have a dollop of yogurt on top, big dollop. Then you might have some nuts and seeds, calcium in that. You might get some berries or something in it just for sort of flavour and that sort of thing. Fantastic. Calcium-rich breakfast, there you go, easy. And so it goes on from there. And you might even have, I brought in actually some examples.
These look delicious.
Try one.
These are...
That's why I'm here.
Okay, you can now. I wouldn't let them. I wouldn't let you, would I? No, you can't eat them yet. So I was just trying to think away from dairy and into just those nuts and seeds and legumes and pulses.
Which is so easy to get now, aren't they?
Exactly. These are some balls which are made with red lentils and loads of seeds and some tahini paste and a bit of cayenne pepper for spiciness. And you can have that, a few of those as snacks, and they're actually loaded with calcium. And this fig slice, say, dried figs which have got calcium in them, nuts and seeds, almonds and pepita seeds, pumpkin seeds,
Yeah.
all full of calcium as well. So you can kind of have those as well. You don't have to have.
How many do you think? I mean, how many of those a day would you need?
Oh, right, but that actually is dependent on how much cheese you might have, or how much yogurt or kefir or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't give you a definitive answer. If you're interested, it is actually quite interesting to work it out with one of those kind of food eating apps.
Absolutely.
Where they literally can calculate your calcium, and you can kind of start getting a feel for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I do a calculation here in clinic, but I think it's easy to do just one of those food apps. If you're really quite interested in, let's get to, in our case, guessing about 1,200 in a day through food, but you can top up with supplements. If you don't quite manage it, don't overdo it with the supplement though.
That's what I think. That could be tempting, couldn't it? You think, I can't be, I haven't got time to calculate everything. Maybe I'll just go and get some calcium.
And we get a lot of women on our Facebook group who are always saying, what supplements can I take? I'm so busy, I've got kids and work and everything. But what is the sort of guidelines to what is?
Well, like Rebecca said, there's this dosage which for under 50 is 700 milligrams a day of calcium through food or supplements, and then over 50 is 1,200 milligrams of calcium per day through food or supplements. The point with that is you're going to get a fair amount of calcium in your day, especially if you eat dairy foods or have tinned fish. So yes, get a lowish dose calcium supplement.
Because there is some problems actually sometimes that one study I think has shown if you just get your calcium from supplements and take too much calcium, it might not be good for the heart. So I presume if we get it from our diet, that's much better, isn't it?
And also it works synergistically. Excuse me. If you have just a little bit of a low dose calcium, maybe a calcium and vitamin D supplement combined with a bit of vitamin K, because that works for bone health, all those three, the mineral and those two vitamins. And then synergistically you're eating foods with calcium in them, then it's going to work so well in your body.
Because I didn't realise, sorry to interrupt, but I thought calcium was literally just milk, yogurt and cheese, and I've got a daughter who's a vegan, and I'm always worried, that she's not getting enough calcium. So that to hear that you can get it in, plant food, broccoli or
plant food. Broccoli, yes, you can. Broccoli.
Vegetable.
Okay, but if you can be bothered, or if she can be bothered, it might be helpful just to do a bit of a calculation over, say, a week of putting it into one of those food apps and just finding out how much calcium she's getting each day. Because you might want to top her up, actually. Sorry.
When you're young, your bone health, isn't it?
Yes.
Get enough calcium now, then that's good. But
I think if she's a vegan, I would just check it out if she's getting enough through these sources, and I would possibly top her up with a bit of a supplement. But do it through food as well, so that's synergy. I think there's more to this bone health, and so if a food is got reasonably good source of calcium, it's going to have those synergistic ingredients in it that we don't know.
Synergistic, the tablet of calcium won't have.
Right, and there's also that vitamin D and vitamin K we know about. And there's other minerals that support bone health, like magnesium, selenium.
So you mentioned vitamin D. I mean, that's another really important vitamin, isn't it, to help us absorb calcium?
Well, especially in this country, because we're not getting any sunlight, so I sort of feel like we need.
We do, and I think it's current guideline is to have that we should all, men and women, take vitamin D supplements, low dose, because we don't get enough.
Because really we can't get it through a dietary source properly. It's not. I mean, herrings, and things. It's not really, except in fortified foods. It's not. I think it's better to take a supplement. So that's good. There's some great calcium brands that come with the vitamin D3 with them and the vitamin K, which they're finding is also helpful with bone health. So yes, you're right about that. The vitamin D is really important. And vitamin D is, going off topic, connected with mental health and breast cancer reduction. There's a connection. It's not saying gives you low vitamin D, but there's a connection. So that's also great.
That's right. And we've got some questions actually, if that's all right for both of you. Do we need extra vitamin D? Well, we've answered that really, haven't we? We probably do, especially in the winter months being here. And how can women eat adequate calcium for their bones? And what about women who are vegan or dairy free? Well, I think we've sort of touched on that quite well.
I do think if someone's got the time and can be bothered, using one of those food apps, just to work out, say, a weekly average calcium, gives them an idea if they're on track.
Because it's almost become, I mean, especially in her, exactly, like they're 22, 23, and it's like suddenly it's become fashionable because vegan food actually looks beautiful on Instagram.
Yeah.
But and
we're concerned about the environment, and so many people are turning to this for other reasons as well.
Of course.
So it's important, isn't it, that they actually don't neglect their calcium, because you're not going to think necessarily about your bones when you're 16 or even younger.
Exactly. And your bones are still forming, aren't they?
And they're still forming. And osteoporosis, of course, isn't painful. I don't know about you, but I always thought of it as a sort of old person's thing, osteoporosis. So it's almost like until you actually break a bone. That's right. You don't know you've got it. No, it's not like osteoarthritis.
Yeah, it's sort of not your first sort of thought. No,
exactly.
I mean, vegan eating is a really healthy diet, but you do have to be quite mindful to get certain nutrients in that you would have ordinarily got through, say, fish bones or through dairy. Yeah. So it's really you do have to be a lot more active with understanding what you're eating and that you're getting those nutrients in, especially in that growing kind of young adults.
Well, it's nice that we've got the apps to help us actually to think.
Yeah.
And I think once you're in a routine then of your pattern of breakfast, lunch and supper, then you can build that calcium in, can't you, once you've looked into it and got your recipes,
yes, absolutely.
calcium-rich recipes.
And maybe I'll get a link put onto this podcast of just a few recommended apps, because I don't support any in particular, but I might put a few apps just on as a link.
I think that'd be really helpful.
I think that'll be helpful. Someone could just choose one. I don't want people to get too concerned generally about what they're eating in a sense, but just have a kind of a rough idea. It's just focusing on say a mineral like calcium. It is. Whole foods generally, if you get into whole foods, like I mentioned, the whole plant kingdom has calcium in it. Just got to kind of hone in a bit.
There was another question, Emma, that is slightly going off track, but diets, how does that affect our brain health? And
gosh, that is
that. Could you touch on that a little bit? Or is that,
so is that brain health or mood, do you think?
I think they mean mood.
Okay, the mood. Well, funnily enough, actually, I think I'm going to do a podcast about that.
Oh, interesting.
Directly about that. So actually, I might just wait.
Yes.
But it's similar things in a sense.
But we can also eat our cognition, our memory.
Absolutely. So that sort of even what that helps our bone health actually is that whole foods diet, just full of lovely, vibrant, colourful plants, but also nuts and seeds and legumes and pulses and whole foods.
It's all healthy, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. Affects that, and our gut health actually affects our mood a lot. But I am going to do a whole podcast on that. So
that's important.
That's
isn't it? But really, the take-home message here is think about your bones, especially if you're on you're a vegan or a restricted diet. Calcium is so important, isn't it?
Can I ask? Because obviously, a lot of women, like to keep fit and exercise, and whether it's running or anything. If you're exercising a lot through the week, do you need to have more calcium, or is it once you've sort of got your exact amount, that's it, it doesn't matter how much? Because the reason I ask is I took up running at 40 and ended up having what's it called?
Stress fracture.
No,
plantar fasciitis.
Well, it was and it was sort of like rubbing and pain.
Yeah. Oh, okay, no, that's not plantar fasciitis.
Okay, anyway, I wondered whether it was like a lack of sort of nutrients from the diet, and whether women.
That sounds more to do with a bit of inflammation of the joints.
So more estrogen might be
probably
anti-inflammatory and terribly important for our muscles. And
you just see a lot of runners who get fractures, and I just always wondered whether
fractures or joints sort of. So a whole foods diet absolutely helps that inflammation around the joints, but also helps the bone health. So that's you don't need more calcium.
No, you just need your.
But you do. Need to make sure you've got roughly around those milligrams that you were talking about. Yeah.
Gosh, it's amazing, isn't it? How much once you start thinking about your calcium intake, I'm going to.
And also, what people don't realise how many foods there is, even a small amount of calcium in. But that does add up in the day. Like I said, dried spices and herbs.
So these are lovely.
I was going to actually ask you the recipe. Is it in your?
Yeah, it's in my cookbook, my Happy Hormone cookbook. Actually, that's called lentil and falafel balls, and that's the fig and ginger slice in the cookbook. But you're welcome to eat them.
We will probably have seeds all over the mat.
We'll have a taste afterwards.
We will. It looks lovely.
All right, fabulous.
I think that's been really interesting. Thank you both about an insight into calcium and the importance for our bone health.
Yeah. And getting on to things like your vegan daughter. I mean, thinking about it right now, seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great to be a vegan, but you've got to work a bit harder at getting your diet kind of a bit more sorted out.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, fantastic.
Thank you. Learned a lot.